Next up, splining our water bodies. So water is probably one of the most confusing things when it comes to a lot of the processes inside of not necessarily Inkscape, but later on in Blender and Unity. Splining them is actually pretty easy, but later on, some of the things that get applied to water, it gets a little confusing, but we'll talk about those later. But let's talk about how we do these in Inkscape. So we have 4 water bodies here. I've got one back here near the tee boxes. I've got one in the middle of these 2 fairways, and I got a big one down here that kind of wraps. It goes underneath the cart path, and it wraps all the way over here. It's kind of oblong, and then goes around. So we might want to do a couple different things here, depending on what we need to do. But these 2 are going to be pretty easy. So let's talk about them, and let's just do them. Let's just do them. All right. So this first one here, so let's zoom in, and you can see this tree overlaps a little bit, so it's a little hard to tell where it goes over there, but let's go to our pen tool. And if we want, we could just, right now, we can just click on water. That way, when we draw this, it'll automatically be water. So a little shortcut instead of using the memory. So let's just click. Remember, deliberate. I'm stopping every time to click. I am not clicking and I'm not dragging as I click. All the way around. And finished. And now I've got a blue water body. Looks good. Let's go do this other one here. So this one kind of shapes around. Hard to tell where it goes over here, but we can just take some artistic liberties. No one's going to really remember if you missed a corner. And we can always dig these out a little bit in Unity later on to adjust the terrain itself. Again, deliberate, click, finish, and I'm done. Now I got this third one over here. We have a couple options here. And if you remember back, oh no, what happened? Well, good learning experience here, guys, is that when I had changed this over here, my semi-rough, which was over here, was highlighted, right? So I changed it to water. So that was it. So be aware when you do things like that. What I thought earlier was I was taking this little bit of a shortcut to change this to water. I actually changed this shape over here to water, and I know I got to switch that back to semi-rough. All right, so just be aware of things like that. Let's talk about this water here. So we can do water in really 2 different ways. One is we can put it on the hole that we're working on. Okay, so this would be hole 2. And did I make a mistake here? I sure did. Look, I put both of these waters on hole 2. So let me highlight these. Object. I should have a path object. Where is it? Layer object. Oh, I can right click, move to layer, hole 1. All right, so those are the kind of things you got to be aware of. I still do it, so make sure you're on the correct hole. So let's go back and talk about this water again. So we can make a decision here whether we put this water, whether we put it on hole 2, or remember in the theory I talked about earlier, we've got 2 special holes. One is 98, which cuts through everything, which is typically our cart paths, okay, and our water bodies. Or we have hole 99, which gets cut by everything. We do not want to put hole on water on hole 99, all right? The water needs to cut through everything underneath it. So could we put it on 98? So yeah, we could trace this out and we could put it on hole 98, but then we're also going to have our cart path on 98, and this cart path goes right on top of our water. Remember, one of our rules was hole 98 objects cannot overlap each other. So I cannot have a cart path on hole 98 cut through a water body on hole 98. So this water body, I am going to need to keep it on hole 2 just for that reason. So hole 2, let's do our pen again, and let's just trace this out. Now I'm going to trace this whole thing out. This is going to take a minute or 2, so I'm just going to pause the video. All right, I just wanted to show you the end of this. So I am finishing up this spline. Again, getting to the end and being very deliberate. and I'm going to change that to water. So you can now see I've got that water traced out. So I've got my 3 water bodies and I have them on the correct hole as well.